Welcome to Season 5 of The Breakdown, the official podcast of the Breakaway Roping Journal and calfroping.com. This season, we're diving into both the breakaway and calf roping like never before, bringing you the personalities, successes, and horses that make these events great. You can expect training tips from top ropers, stories from the road, and industry news that goes beyond the numbers. I'm Hannah Mann, your host, and this is The Breakdown. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Tie Down Breakdown. I'm your host, Hannah Mann. This episode looks a little bit different than usual. We brought the wonderful and talented Amy Wilson on to lead the interview with Fastback Ropes General Manager Coy Upchurch. We covered just about everything from how ropes are made to which rope a beginner should buy and everything in between. We want to give a special shout out to Coy for taking the time out of his busy schedule to come on the podcast for this Fastback Ropes sponsored episode. Without further ado, let's get into the episode.
Well, obviously, I love Fastback and appreciate you guys. You guys have the best team. It's always so much fun. Whether I call Terry or get to see you guys in Vegas, it's always a lot of fun. So you have a great team. I know that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great team. First of all, thank you guys for having me on here. It's an honor to get to do anything with you guys, and we appreciate all the help and support that you give us. But yeah, the team's phenomenal. Dustin Noblet, he owns and runs Fastback actually, and Tony Faro, his right hand man. So yeah, great team. Starts with them for sure, but I have 26 employees here, and I don't dread coming to work on Sunday nights. I love my job, and yeah, it's a blessing to be part of Fastback. And we
Yes.
appreciate you being with us, Amy. Yeah.
Oh, well, thanks. So we'll talk a lot about ropes and that whole process. But first, tell us your story. How did you get to this point?
Started roping, as a kid, and roped through high school, college, and then afterwards, and realized the afterwards deal really didn't work for me. Those guys, beat me up pretty good. So, but one of the guys that got me started roping actually worked in a rope shop. Bill Schrum worked at Love Ropes years ago, and I would always ask him questions, and it always fascinated me. So then, fast forward, I went to work for Kurt Matthews there at Professionals Choice. I worked there 10 years, and I've been here going on 12 years at Fastback. So that's been fun.
Awesome.
Love it.
How exactly did you get your start at Fastback?
Al Benson was the general manager, and I was exiting the oil field. I was a sales rep in the oil field and came on here and just worked in the tie room, tying eyes, sewing burners, coiling rope, and then went back to the oil field, and then saw a slowdown coming. So I asked Al if I could get back on. He said they really didn't need anybody in the tie room. They needed a sales manager. So I told him, I said, well, I may be here 6 weeks or 6 months, but probably not much longer than 6 months. And I've been here, 12 years now, which has been great. So
That's pretty cool that you have the knowledge from the tie room and just all of it. Like you've actually worked those positions. I think that probably really helps when it comes to being the general manager now.
it does. Yeah. I rode a rope machine for a year and a half and then went in the tie room and then started helping with their sales. And that was at a different rope shop at Professionals Choice. But yeah, it helps to have done that. So for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Um, what does a day in your life look like as general manager of Fastback?
We just try and come in and we'll swing any ropes that we think are off, or we swing them all anyway. But in Texas, it'll be 40 one day and then 90 the next, and goes from really humid to really dry, and that affects the feel of the ropes. So we try and swing them, use them, swing the used ropes, and just try and keep them feeling good and lasting a long time. So
Can you
that's
break down why the weather affects how a rope feels so much and maybe what someone can do to help that?
just the
Like what should
humidity.
they do with their ropes? Yeah.
Yeah, the humidity gets in the string, and they expand and those little strings expand and contract. So when we make them, you're getting that same effect. But I'm sorry, what was the second part of the question?
Well, just like for someone maybe who's just starting, I mean, what should they do with
Oh,
their rope in the summer or the winter, or how should they pick ropes, or when should they buy ropes? Just knowing that the weather affects ropes so much, what can they do?
yeah, if a rope is swinging a little too much, if the back is coming over the top a little too much, I would mark it somehow and save it for when it's cold. When the weather's cold, that kink or that load, that bend that comes over the top strand will be less, so you'll want to use it. And then if it's really cold out and you have a rope and it's wanting to backswing, almost the bottom come under the top, I would use that in the summer, mark it and use it when it's hot because it'll swing better. But um, try and keep them out of the direct sunlight as much as you can. And um, you can wipe them off, especially breakaway ropers. Their ropes drag a lot. Just wipe them off with a wet rag, give them a chance to dry. um, just basic maintenance.
Mm. So let's talk about how a rope is made. Can you take us from start to finish, like the raw materials that you pick out, just those details?
Yeah, our base materials come from Eastern Europe. We've tested materials from China, India, Mexico, materials made here, but the best that we've found is from a company in Eastern Europe. As far as durability, they put a UV protectant on it so the sunlight doesn't affect it as much. But we'll put up the combinations of strings that we want to use, and then we'll spin the individual crowns together. Like if it's a 4 strand, we'll have 4 hooks spinning the little strings together. And then at a certain point, we'll spin those 4 strings into the one rope. And then once that's made, it's submerged in wax at a certain temperature for a certain amount of time. And then the eyes put in it, and it's coiled up, and we put the kink or load or kick or whatever you want to call it. So the bottom will go over the top at the front of the swing. And then we'll swing them the next day, and we'll use them to make sure they're up to our standards, and then they're sold, shipped out.
Yeah, it's a cool process for anyone who hasn't been by your shop there by Granbury. It's cool to see how it all comes together. Yeah,
I think so.
quite
It's a lot
impressive.
more manual than people think, or physical, I guess. And a lot of it is more like artwork. We sew pieces of leather in it and do the tail tags, which are decorative. But a lot of people have made the comment after they take the tour, it's like, you guys are doing little works of art. And we think so. So it's pretty cool. I love it. But you have
Yeah,
my job. I also help with sales when I can, and I go to shows, special events. So, but
yeah, yeah.
my favorite
I
my
love getting to
favorite
see
part is
how it's all. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
the rope part. Yeah, making the ropes, testing them.
So break down for us what's a nylon versus a poly.
Nylon is it's a lot more stretchy, uh, more elastic. They call it the Superman of plastics. Nylon was actually made to go in machinery. Um, the moving parts of a machine, they will put washers in there for that machine, like washers. So it's a very durable, very long lasting material. It expands and contracts quite a bit, but it's perfect for team ropes. And then the polyester, it doesn't stretch as much. Very good material, but it's a plastic again, but it just doesn't stretch as much. And that's what the calf ropers or breakaway ropers want, a rope that won't stretch to break the string on the breakaway, and then the calf ropers so they can control um, the spin or fall of the animal.
Yeah. So we see some crossover, some breakaway ropers using, maybe a soft head rope. They want something that stays open more, or, team ropers all have their preference, but kind of break it down from your knowledge as far as if someone's just beginning, what's the feel of those different ropes?
A a calf rope is going to have a lot more tip weight when you swing it. You'll feel a lot more tip weight. And then a team rope is going to have more body. And so body would be like if you hold a garden hose up, if you make a loop in a garden hose and you hold it up in the middle of winter, it's more hula hoop shaped. It's more oval. Where if you hold that same water garden hose up in the middle of summer, it's going to hang off your hand more, off your index finger and pinky finger. It's going to be more droopy, more uh, egg shaped, and that's more tip. That's less body. So the calf ropers need body. So when they throw their loop, it opens up enough to catch the calf. But they want a lot less body than a team roper would. A team roper is going to be roping horns that are a lot wider, and the hind feet of a steer are certainly a lot wider. So they want their ropes more hula hoopy, where a calf roper would use one that's got a lot more tip, less body. So if I were going to start out roping, I would figure out whether I was going to team rope or rope calves, and we make a kid rope. It's a 8-0 calf rope. If I was a younger girl or boy that just wants to rope calves, that's what I would use as a kid rope. I would use that small calf rope. And if I was going to team rope, of course, I would get one of our kid ropes that are all nylon to rope the dummy with, and I'd just start roping a dummy and ride my horse, and I would get with someone that knows what's going on, that you can get lessons from, because if you're out there on your own, from my point of view, you could mess with something for 6 months to a year before you figure it out, and a pro can watch you run, 3 steers or 3 calves and tell you immediately what you need to work on the most. So I would get with someone in the neighborhood, or even if you have to go get lessons, I would get with somebody that knows what's going on. It'll reduce your learning curve greatly.
I think that's great advice because if you're out there practicing and you're practicing the wrong thing, it is so hard to correct that. Once you create that muscle memory of doing it a certain way, it's really hard to fix it. So yeah, I think going and learning from a pro from the beginning is really great advice. I see a lot, obviously breakaway roping is growing, and I love that because I love to breakaway. But I saw the other day someone posted that Shelby had given one of her ropes after she roped with it at a rodeo to this little girl, and that little girl had just roped her first calf with it at a rodeo, which is just a really cool story. But I also think it represents when people are starting and you look at a website and you go to order a rope, it's just all kind of foreign, So maybe break down when you're talking about a rope, the lay. So if I'm looking at a soft 9.5, kind of explain what those numbers mean to someone who's just starting out. What rope should they buy?
If I was going to start out roping, I would use calf ropes are measured metric. Ours are measured metrically. So like we have a kid rope. It's we call it the hot shot. It's a little kid rope made out of polyester. It's a 8.0 calf rope. So that's the millimeter. And then our number one selling calf rope is a 9 edge, which is a poly 4-strand, a 9.5. So that's the diameter, and an extra soft. We make two different lays or stiffnesses. We make an extra soft, or a soft. So the extra soft's a little softer, and then if you want just a little firmer rope, you could go to a soft. But yeah, our number one calf rope, breakaway rope, is a 9.5. Our number one breakaway rope, I should say, is a 9.5 edge extra soft. That's what Shelby uses. So
What about for the team ropers out there? What do you recommend for them if they're buying a rope for the first time?
if I were a youth, junior high, elementary, junior high, I would buy the Venom or the Cure. They'll last a long time. They're a little smaller, a little lighter, easier on your arm, just easier to learn with, a little more user friendly. And I would get an extra soft, and you could rope the heading dummy with it, or you could rope the heeling dummy. And even the sleds that are pulled by four-wheelers, you could, if you're learning, it's firm enough to kind of stand open, but it's soft enough where you can swing it. You can enjoy roping. If you get like a medium heel rope and you're just starting out, it's so hard and big and heavy. It'll take longer to get the feel.
Right. Yeah, makes sense. You rolled through a couple names of ropes. Talk about that process. How do you come up with a rope, name it? How do you get it through, the whole process of designing and deciding whether it's one you're going to market or not?
Right. A lot of the ropes that we test are just they're spin-offs of what we already have. Somebody will mention, we wish it was a little bigger or had more tip weight or more body, and then we will test for that. So that's one way. We have a really good relationship with the people that we buy our string from, and sometimes they will just send us string to test. So that's one way. And then every now and then, the guys that are making ropes will actually put up the wrong stuff, and it turns out really good. So sometimes we do that. But we've tested some crazy materials, ballistic materials that they use to make the Kevlar vests. A company sent us some string, and they said, well, you probably won't be able to make ropes with it. It's pretty expensive. And so we put it up and make a rope. And then we asked them, well, how, we used X amount. How much would that cost? And it was $200. So we're like, what? But they just wanted to see if we could, what it was like, to make a rope out of it. Because what we do is the main use of nylon is actually in carpet. And then the military uses a lot. Automotive industry uses a lot. Seat belts, the seats. The little strings are in the hoses in the motor. That's nylon. But carpet is that's mainly what people use nylon for. So they like us because we're doing something completely different with their materials. It's just intriguing to them.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So what'd that $200 rope feel like?
Well, it took it when we waxed it, it just completely shriveled it up. It was pretty neat. It took about 45 minutes to get it cut off the machine. That we didn't anticipate not being able to cut it off the machine. So yeah, they had hacksaws back there and cutters, and yeah, bulletproof material doesn't cut very easily. Who'd have thought about that?
Oh, that's crazy. So
Yeah.
realistically, how many ropes don't make it, or how many ropes do you try?
Oh, I don't. That's an interesting. That's an interesting question. Of all of our test ropes, probably ah less than 10%. We don't want to come out. We never want to come out with a rope just to come out with one. We come out with them as we think we have improved on something, or there's been a need, or ropes have changed so much. I'm 58. I started roping when I was a kid. Ropes were kind of brown, and they laid them out in the sun. They would age them, and they were 7/16 scants. They were huge, 3-strand. Or now they're 3/8 and they're 4 strands, and we're putting cores in them and using different materials, colored materials, polyesters in the team rope. So the technology has changed a lot, but as it evolves, we test for improvement. We just don't come out with a new rope just because, we're trying to improve on something.
Yeah, I think that's so cool that it's constantly, raising the bar and trying to make things better. So what does the future look like? What kind of improvements do you see coming?
We're still testing different types of materials. We will request stuff that we see, or if we have an idea, or um, they'll send stuff. We've made ropes out of carbon fiber, um, rayon, different types of polyesters, different types of nylons. There's different types of nylons we've tested, but um, yeah, I don't know this. I think we're about as small as we can get, because a big chain lasts a lot longer than a little chain if you're out working. So I think we're about as small as we can get, just because they are expensive, and you want it to last a little while. You don't want to ruin one so quick. So the smaller ropes, they just wear out faster, and they run more on the saddle horn, but and then you get so small with the breakaway ropers that it's like, this is too small to use. So the size has come down a lot in the last years, but I think we're about tapped out on getting smaller. I think they're as small as they're going to get.
I do have one question, and then I'll let Amy get back into her questions. But you guys have, quite the roster of endorsees, including Haven and Shelby, obviously on the breakaway and the calf rope inside. Kind of explain. I would imagine that they have input. Obviously, Amy is one of your guys' endorsees too, but I'm sure that each of your endorsees have some input on, like the feel of the rope, or something that they would like to see you guys do. Kind of explain that process, how you guys take that feedback from your endorsees, and maybe like put it to use in future ropes.
That's a really good question. Yeah, they all have feedback, and we all appreciate the feedback. We've done some things that have worked out well. For a perfect example is we put an edge. We put a core in the edge rope, and the breakaway ropers really liked it, but they're just breaking a string. When the calf ropers used it, it it didn't coil up very well. It would change that kick, that load. And it's just not a rope that we would want to come out with. One of our breakaway ropes is called the Athena, and it's half nylon and half polyester. We marketed it for breakaway ropers, but there were actually steer trippers, which those guys are really hard on ropes. But there were steer trippers that used that breakaway rope, and it performed really well, and that's great. But the edge with a core in it, while it was really, really good for the breakaway ropers, the calf ropers, they didn't like it at all, because after they roped a few, it just changed how the rope, that the natural coil of the rope changed it somewhat. And it's just not a rope that we could ever really come out with until we got that problem fixed. But you just, when you're testing ropes, you have to be mindful of where they're going to use it. Like in Texas, in the wintertime, it's really cold here. The humidity makes it cold. And then what's it like in Arizona in the summer when it's hot and dry? We test them over a period of time in different climates to make sure it's going to stay good, whether you're breakawaying with it or whether you're roping calves with it in, Arizona or Canada. So we test them, but we do make test ropes based on feedback we get from our endorsees.
Yeah. Any specific things that some of the top ones have said about your ropes that you want to share with everyone?
I think when people come over, the guys that have been with us for a while, they try ropes from other shops. We Here at Fastback, we buy ropes from other shops and use them just to check out the competition. I think all shops do that. But we think our ropes, they do require a little break in. Out of the twisties, we have a lot of guys that just take them out of the twisties and start using them. But for the most part, they do require a little break in. But I get a lot of feedback on how long they last and how they feel good for a long time. Their ropes are around $50 now when you go to the store and buy one. So you want it to last a long time. And ours feel good for, the duration of the rope. But you get to a point where you just can't use it anymore. And then you need to get a new one. But we think ours feel better longer and last longer than anything else on the market.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, in your opinion, what does a perfect rope feel like?
I like one that has a little more size, a little more tip weight. When I grew up, I used ropes 7/16 scants. They were big. It was a long time ago, in the 80s when I started roping. So that's the feel that I like. My play rope, the rope that started roping with, was a head rope. And now so many guys that are roping, they started with kid ropes, that are 1/4 inch in diameter, really bouncy, really light. So that's kind of the feel that they like. A lot more body, a lot more hula hoopy. You watch these guys on TV that, rope phenomenal. Well, their first rope wasn't a head rope. It was a little kid rope. So I think it's cool how the field has evolved, really. It's easier on their shoulders. The lighter the rope is, the easier it is on your shoulders. We see it with kids and older people that are roping. They just like smaller, lighter ropes.
Yeah, that's a good point. I just worked the Patriot, and someone pointed out all these kids, most of them on Segways, are rolling by, but they're all swinging a rope. They're not looking down on a phone. They're swinging a rope and they're roping anything and everything, and little dummy competitions and all that. And so it really is cool to see how much kids love roping and what's available to them now, with all the different ropes, but especially the lighter ropes, so that they can last a lot longer as far as, physically. So I think it's really cool. But with that being said, how have you seen the numbers impact your business because I mean it's grown so much across the board with calf roping, breakaway, team roping, all of it.
Yeah, the team roping has been phenomenal for a long time. The associations, the number system, um, the ease that you can get information. You know, when I was learning, we had a VHS cassette where now these kids can get on their phone and get really good information, or they can go to a roping. This isn't like baseball or football. You can't walk up to an NFL quarterback and get tips where I don't know anybody in the top 15 that you couldn't go to and ask for a tip or a help. I mean, the pros in that rope, the Western industry, they're so approachable. You know, you can go and talk to a world champion this next week at the US finals. They'll talk to you. I mean, it's not like baseball. You can't go talk to the pitcher of the Rangers this afternoon, you know. But I just think that the breakaway has been great for the rope industry for sure, the horse industry. It's brought so many. Yeah, I know you barrel race and breakaway, but nothing against breakaway horses. They're phenomenal, but you have to have a fire breathing dragon to go win place at a barrel race in Texas, where you can, you know, you can maybe have a little bit easier time getting into breakaway roping than you can barrel racing, just the cost of it. So it's been phenomenal for our industry. And yeah, we love selling ropes. We don't care whether they're kid ropes or breakaway ropes or team ropes. We like seeing ropes go out the door.
That's true. You mentioned getting to learn from the pros, and that's one thing that's so cool that Hannah and the whole team are doing with roping.com and then all the, calfroping.com is they go and they film with the very best, and then it's just right at your fingertips at any point. So it is really cool to see just the access that people have to great information to learn and improve all the time.
Absolutely. Yeah, I saw you. You mentioned that you were at the Patriot. I saw you there, and there were like people just talking to you. I mean, you're one, you know, you're looked up to, and you were talking to those kids, and yeah, it just drives home the point of how approachable everyone is in the Western industry. So yeah, it was cool to see. We love having you on our team.
Oh, well, thank you. I love being on the team, and it is cool. It's a great group to be a part of as far as just how people are usually so open to offering advice and helping. And another thing I wanted to bring up was I've had so many people that look down at my horse's boots and they see the Fastback logo and they're like, I didn't know Fastback made boots. And you guys, you make a lot of other products, horse boots, and a lot of stuff that's all on your website, but I want to give you a chance to talk about that a little bit too.
Thank you. Yeah, we love our boots. The neoprene. We used to consider that it was kind of middle of the road neoprene, where now it's one of the best qualities you can get just because of the materials that they're using, and we get them from China, but the materials that they use now, well, now our neoprene is one of the best, and our Velcro has always been the best. But it's a really good. Our boots are a good price point. We have Casazias, and we have a felt pad, a 3/4 inch and a 1 inch, and then lots of cool merchandise, apparel, our shirts and caps, hoodies, jackets, or you can go onto our website fastbackropes.com and see all that stuff. But yeah, I appreciate it. it's good. It's a good compliment. It's
Welcome
good
to Season 5 of The
advertising,
Breakdown, the
but
official podcast of the Breakaway
they're
Roping
really
Journal
good
and
boots, and it's a good
caproping.com.
price point.
This
So
season, we're diving into both the
Amy's the
breakaway
walking
and
sales
cap
rep
roping
for you
like never
today with her
before,
hat and
bringing
her
you the
shirt on.
personalities,
This is
successes,
my
Absolutely.
this
and
is my
horses that
daily
make these
outfit.
events great.
Absolutely.
You can
Yeah.
expect training tips
Yeah,
from
we
top
love it.
ropers, stories from the
As
road,
you know, I
and
go through a
industry
lot of
news
them.
that goes
I
beyond
wear
the
a fastback
numbers.
cap all the
I'm Hannah
time,
Mann,
so.
your host, and this is The Breakdown.
Yeah, our cap. We get, man, we got just a gem. Terry Edwards she kind of heads our merchandise up, does a phenomenal job. She gets input from the youth, like a lot of high school, college age kids that work here. Terry will poll them on what's trending and then get with you guys. And she does a great job. It just uh, wouldn't be Fastback without Terry.
Exactly, yeah. She's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I know you had several different talking points and things. Is there anything else you would like to share with everyone?
Oh, we do the best we can. If you get some bad ropes, let us know. We'll try and take care of it. But yeah, if anyone's ever in the area, we're open to giving tours. We enjoy showing people what we do, and then there's a lot of good information on your iPhone, and then go to our website, check it out. But we just love our customer service, our endorsees. It's more of a family than people realize. But yeah, I appreciate getting to be on your the podcast.
Yeah, well, we love having you. Appreciate all you guys do. I'm sure it's a lot of fun when you get to see those endorsees win with ropes that you have seen start to finish, and so that's pretty cool.
It's cool to see, for sure.